just got done recording a multi-day test of the Yeti Roadie's 24's ice retention. I've had this cooler a few years now. It's done very well for me. I had recently bought the Yeti Ice, and I packed this cooler the way they recommended with the Yeti Ice, and I tested it to see if it actually made a real difference. The results are as follows. You'll see how it does, how it stacks up, and with a little bit of information about maybe getting an American-made Yeti, and if I would recommend this product and the Yeti Ice going forward. What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to do a review of the Yeti Roadie 24. I'm going to pack it the way that Yeti recommends you pack it. They recommend packing it with a Yeti Ice on the bottom, ice, and then drinks, then ice on top. I don't really know if the Yeti Ice works. There it is over here. It's not supposed to be used as an ice pack. Apparently it's supposed to stays cold longer. Yeah, it's supposed to like make the ice last longer. I don't know. Kind of sounds like a scam, but I bought it anyway, just like the overpriced Yeti. When I bought it, it was $200. I believe they're $250 now. Gotta say, this thing's actually really good. The price is steep. $250 for something that's pretty small. I know the larger ones are really good. I know like they're good in the hunting community, the fishing community, but for regular people like me, it might be a little overbuilt if you're just taking it to the beach, taking it to barbecues, so on and so forth. But put the Yeti Ice down there. I'm gonna put it some ice over it. I'm gonna put like 6-7 drinks in there, and then I'll put some ice over that, and we'll see how long it lasts. All right, I'm back. The Yeti's filled up. Got the Yeti Ice on the bottom, ice on top of the Yeti Ice. Got 7 drinks of assorted sizes. Got like Mountain Dew, Canada's beer, White Claws, I think a bottle of Land Shark in there. Realistically, this thing doesn't, if you're gonna pack it the way Yeti wants you to, Yeti Ice on the bottom, ice on top, you're not gonna fit a lot in there. It's like 7 things in there. Yay, I could pack a little bit better, but I would say if you're doing cans, you could probably swing like a 12 pack, maybe a little bit more in there, but realistically it's not going to hold a lot. So having ice retained for 3 to 4 days, probably not necessary, but I've had this thing for like 2 years now. We take it with us on trips. It's like a drink cooler thing, and I took it on a trip for like 3 days, filled it up with ice like this, and we were in and out of it constantly, putting more drinks in it, taking them out, and the ice lasted like the whole time, and that was without using the Yeti Ice. So we'll see if the Yeti Ice actually helps. So I'm going to close it up. Right now, Long Island, New York, July 22nd, 2022, at about 3 p.m. It's 93 degrees. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 91. Day after that, 89. Day after that, 82. I don't think it's going to last to the day that has 82, but you never know. If this Yeti Ice is good, then it might pull it off. So I'll record tomorrow, show what it looks like, and we'll take it from there. Alright, it's 8 o'clock. It's been about 5 hours, so I don't expect to see much of a change, but it's worth checking. Pretty much looks the same, maybe a little more settled, but I'd hope there wouldn't be much of a difference after 5 hours. But it's a good way to gauge, pack it up for a short trip, and that's what it looked like after 5 hours. See if the Yeti Ice makes any difference come this time tomorrow. Alright, we're back. It's been just about 24 hours, about 22 hours since we loaded this thing up. I have it out in the sun. Yesterday when I loaded it up, it was a little shady, as by then the sun had already passed this area. The sun usually hits this area for about 8-9 hours a day. So this thing's going to be basking in the sun for a while. You can tell that the ice has definitely settled a little bit, but still not too bad. It's freezing cold in here. Plenty of ice left. Definitely going to make it to tomorrow, no problem. You know, like I said today, 91 degrees out right now. It's hot, and in the sun it feels even worse. So I'm interested to see how it is tomorrow. I think tomorrow is supposed to be in like the 80s. I think it's supposed to be a little cloudy tomorrow, so that might affect it a little bit, but looks pretty good. I went and researched the Yeti Ice a little bit more last night. apparently people were saying it kept their cooler, well, kept the ice in the cooler for like another day, 2 days. I don't know how much I believe that, but we'll find out. Maybe eventually I'll do a test with this thing with just ice, no Yeti Ice, compare the time frames, but I'd have to do it when there's similar weather to it. But for now, it looks pretty good. We'll check back tomorrow. What's up, guys? It's now been a little over 30 hours now since this thing's been packed. I just wanted to check it out, just see how it looks. Not great. I mean, before was like 6-7 hours ago, and it's lost a lot since then, but it's been sitting in the heat. Like I said, it was 90 something degrees out today. I think I ended up hitting 95. A lot of water in this down here. You can't really tell in the video. Yeah, now I'll be interested to see how well that Yeti Ice is going to keep it going, because it hasn't been 2 days yet. Tomorrow's going to be 2 days. It's supposed to be cloudy and rainy, so it should help out keeping this thing going. I think tomorrow's going to be 82 or 86. I can't really remember. I'll let you guys know in tomorrow's video. All right, here it is, hour 43. It's supposed to rain later today, so I might not make it out at the 48-hour mark, so just want to check it now. Let's see what we're looking at. Significant ice melt. Look at all this water in here. Looks completely different than it did yesterday. It's a huge chunk of ice in here. See on the bottom that Yeti Ice. Oh, this big chunk is attached to the Yeti Ice. Oh, so the Yeti Ice might actually do its job. This ice is attached to it. It's a big chunk. There's actually a decent amount of ice. Again, this is the 43-hour mark around there. I don't know. It's been really hot. The past few days have been in the 90s. Today is going to be like 86. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit colder, 82. So we'll see. I think this might be able to make it to 3 days, but we'll find out. I'll try to check again at the 48-hour mark. If not, I'll check again tomorrow. All right, it's the 48-hour mark. The rain held out for most of the day. It's raining now, but I think I got time to just give it a peek. And this is what it looks like in here. A lot of water, a lot of water. And you got this thing. I forgot about this. Check the temperatures in here. Look at that, it's pretty cold. 34. The bottle itself, 47. It's really not that cold. 40. Nah, it's cold, what am I saying? But this is what it looks like now at the 48-hour mark. A lot of ice, big chunk of ice right here. You can't really see it in the video. Big chunk of ice. This could make it to the 72-hour mark, no problem. I don't really see it going past that, but we'll check again tomorrow morning, and then again at the 72-hour mark. All right, we're back. This is just before the 72-hour mark. I just didn't think it was gonna make it 3 days, but what do you know? Look at this big, huge chunk of ice. Some little ice floating around in here. This is at 68 hours. Today it's 83 degrees. So a lot colder than the other 2 days. The other days were 93 and 91, stuff like that. So it's a lot colder today, but still pretty hot. Look at the inside, 37 degrees. You could definitely store meat in this thing if you're one of those guys. So I'll check back at the 72-hour mark. All right, here we go. Yeti Roadie 24 at the 72-hour mark. It's exactly 72 hours. Today it's 83 degrees. Last 2 days we're in the 90s, and here we are. It says exactly 3 days since loading it up. I didn't pack it very well, didn't put a lot of stuff in it though, and that's with the Yeti Ice included. Decent sized chunks in there, and the temperature is 35 degrees, 34. So it's cold. It's cold in there. Yeti Ice might have helped. Like I said earlier in the video, I have gotten this cooler to go 3-4 days, you know, with ice in it. So I don't think the Yeti Ice made a big difference. I don't know if I'd be able to recommend the Yeti Ice. Yesterday, a big chunk of ice was attached to the Yeti Ice. So I assume that, I don't know, maybe it helps it stay together in a larger iceberg type thing. I don't know. I don't think the Yeti Ice made a huge difference. If I can get another big heat wave where it's in the 90s for a few days, I'll test this again without the Yeti Ice to see if there's any difference. I'll be honest with you, I don't think there'll be a big difference. There's some things I could have changed with this test. For starters, I could have packed it a little bit better Could have added more drinks in there, something a little more realistic. This is something that won't even last me like an hour. But I just tried to put some drinks in there to simulate using it. I opened it up a couple times a day. Probably should have opened it up a little bit more. I would say about 72 hours is what you're gonna look at realistically for this thing. And that's, I think, being generous. Someone using this more recreationally on a boat or something, you'll be lucky if you hit in 2 days. But it's small. This is, like, look at this. It's, you're not fitting a lot in this. You're not gonna be, if you're a hunter going out hunting, you're gonna get something much bigger than this. On a boat, I'd recommend like the Yeti 45 at the smallest, because you want to fit drinks and some fish in there, and you want to use it as a seat. This thing's more of like a day trip thing, maybe a 2-day thing if you're going camping. That's really it. Another thing I wanted to touch on with this Yeti here, nowhere on it does it say where it's made. On the tag it does, and I don't have the tag saved. My tag said it was made in the United States of America. The common misconception with Yetis is that they're made in China, which is not true. The drinkware is made in China. The soft coolers are made in the Philippines, I believe, Philippines. The hard coolers, some are made in the Philippines, some are made in Poland, and some are made in the US, in Iowa as one state, and I think Wisconsin in another state. If you want an American-made Yeti cooler, it's very simple. What I did is I ordered this online. Again, this was 2 years ago. Could have changed. You might want to call customer support now, but what I did 2 years ago when I ordered this thing, or a year ago, I copied my order number. I emailed it to their customer support and said, hey, I'm getting a Roadie 24. Here's my order number. Can I get one that's made in the US? And they responded and they said, yeah, they'll do that. And this thing showed up a few days later, and the tag on it said made in the US. So you can get an American-made Yeti. If you don't want to go through that hassle, you could roll the dice, maybe get one from Poland. I don't really mind helping out the Polish people. I prefer the US, but you could do that. Or there's competition to Yeti. There's the Orca. Orcas are built the same way. They kind of look exactly the same. From the videos I've seen, they're pretty much identical, and they're made exclusively in America. But if you really want a Yeti and you want an American made, that's just the extra step you got to go. But I just wanted to clear that up, and yeah, so this is pretty much it. Roadie 24 did pretty good, pretty happy with it. Could I recommend it? Yeah. They upped the price by $50. Now it's $250. At that price, but remember, Yeti does offer 20% off for first responders, military, and nurses. So that's something to keep in mind also if you're really dead set on getting a Yeti. It's a nice savings. But that's it. So 72 hours, that seems to be it. Yeti Ice, would I recommend buying it? I don't think it really did anything. But that's your call to make. It's not exactly expensive, but it's not exactly cheap. But yeah, that's it. You're looking at 2 to 3 days with a Roadie 24. Maybe a little bit more if you pack it better than I did, or if you pre-chill it. But that's up to you if you want to waste a bag of ice pre-chilling a cooler to go out drinking. All right, that's it. Just a heads up, I did check. This is hour number 74, and 1 ice cube left. So yeah, 72 hours to cut off.